Shadows of Retribution. The city slept beneath a blanket of darkness, its alleys and streets winding through the heart of a desolate urban landscape. Dante, a feared gangster, ruled these shadows, his name whispered with a mix of awe and dread in the dimly lit corners of the hood. Part 1, The Shattered Silence. It was a night like any other when Dante, a man accustomed to the symphony of urban sounds, awoke with a start. The dissonance of gunshots echoed through the stillness, jolting him from his restless slumber. His eyes shot open, and he lay there for a moment, a dangerous calm settling over him as his senses honed in on the unfamiliar sounds. He moved with silent urgency, slipping out of bed and reaching for the concealed weapon beneath his pillow. The hardwood floor creaked beneath his bare feet as he approached the window, peering into the abyss beyond. The night held its secrets close, but the distant wails of sirens mingled with the haunting whispers of the wind. Dante's instincts screamed at him to investigate, to confront the disturbance that threatened the delicate balance of power in the hood. As he descended the creaking staircase, the scent of dread hung in the air like a phantom. The corridor leading to his family's quarters seemed to stretch endlessly. The dim light flickered overhead, casting eerie shadows on the peeling wallpaper. Part 2, The Abyss Stares Back. The door to his family's living quarters hung slightly ajar, the entrance to his haven now a portal to the unknown. Dante hesitated for a fraction of a second before pushing the door open with a quiet creak. His eyes swept the room, and time seemed to stand still. His sanctuary had been violated. The air thickened with the acrid scent of despair, and the dim light revealed a scene of unimaginable horror. The lifeless bodies of his loved ones lay sprawled across the floor, a grotesque tapestry of violence painted in shades of crimson. The room, once filled with warmth and laughter, now resonated with a haunting silence. Dante's breath caught in his throat as he stumbled backward, grappling with the cruel reality that had stolen everything from him in the dead of night. Fury ignited within him, a visceral flame that fueled his resolve. His family's killers would know retribution, even if it meant diving into the abyss that awaited him. Part 3, Becoming the Phantom. The city, once a tapestry of danger and opportunity, became Dante's labyrinth of vengeance. He vanished into the shadows, a spectral presence haunting the forgotten corners of the hood. In the weeks that followed, Dante underwent a metamorphosis. He trained tirelessly, mastering the art of stealth and subterfuge. The streets whispered of a new force, a phantom with a vendetta that struck terror into the hearts of criminals. His transformation was complete. Dante, the gangster, had become a phantom, a vigilante shrouded in darkness. His quest for vengeance drove him to the edge of sanity, and the city quivered beneath the weight of his wrath. Part 4, Unmasking Shadows. The Phantom's pursuit led him through labyrinthine alleys and hidden passages, unveiling a network of corruption that stretched far beyond the hood's boundaries. Dante's enemies, he discovered, were mere pawns in a grander scheme, a malevolent force that thrived in the city's underbelly. Each confrontation brought Dante closer to the truth, but it also unraveled the seams of his sanity. The shadows that once shielded him now clawed at his soul, threatening to consume him whole. As the Phantom closed in on his family's killers, a sinister revelation awaited, one that would cast him into a pit of despair darker than the shadows he navigated. Part 5, The Sinister Revelation. The Phantom's relentless pursuit had led him to the heart of the criminal underworld, a place where shadows danced with malevolence. His enemies, once faceless, began to take form, a cult that worshipped a malevolent entity, feeding on the fear and suffering of the hood's inhabitants. Dante's vendetta had unwittingly become entangled with forces beyond his comprehension. The cult, with its tendrils reaching into every crevice of the city, operated under the cover of darkness, orchestrating the chaos that had claimed Dante's family. Haunted by visions of his loved ones, Dante pressed forward. Every step carried the weight of his past, and the whispers of the cult's malevolent deity echoed in his ears. His journey had transformed from a quest for revenge to a battle against an ancient evil. Part 6, The Abyss Gazes Back. As Dante unraveled the cult's secrets, he discovered a chilling truth: the entity they worshipped thrived on the suffering of the innocent. It lurked in the shadows, an ancient force that fed on the despair of those it ensnared. The Phantom, now standing at the precipice of the abyss, faced a choice: to confront the malevolent deity head-on or succumb to the same darkness that had consumed his family. The lines between vengeance and salvation blurred as the hood became a battleground for the fate of his soul. Haunted by the malevolent force that had driven him to this point, Dante confronted the cult's leaders in a final, cataclysmic showdown. The air crackled with supernatural energy as shadows danced around him, and the cultists chanted in unholy unison. Part 7, A Tragic Reckoning. In the midst of the supernatural maelstrom, Dante faced the embodiment of the cult's deity, a formless, malevolent entity that thrived on fear. The Phantom's blade clashed with the Eldritch Force, a battle between mortal and ancient evil. Yet, as the confrontation reached its climax, the boundaries between reality and nightmare began to blur. Dante, his senses overwhelmed, felt the tendrils of the malevolent force seeping into his very being. The shadows embraced him, pulling him deeper into the abyss. In a chilling revelation, Dante realized that to defeat the entity, he would have to sacrifice himself. The malevolent force sought a vessel, and Dante, in his pursuit of vengeance, unwittingly became the perfect conduit. As the Phantom faced the ultimate choice, vanquish the entity at the cost of his own existence or succumb to the darkness and become its harbinger, the Hood trembled with the echoes of a tragic reckoning. Part 8, Echoes in the Shadows. The Hood, once a battleground for vengeance, fell into an uneasy silence. The Phantom, the spectral force that had haunted the city's underworld, vanished into the abyss, leaving behind a legacy etched in fear and tragedy. The malevolent cult, shattered in the wake of the Phantom's sacrifice, retreated into the shadows. The Hood, scarred by the supernatural conflict, carried the echoes of Dante's ordeal, a cautionary tale of vengeance that had plunged a man into the abyss from which there was no return. In the eerie stillness that followed, the shadows whispered of a phantom's sacrifice, a tragic tale that lingered in the darkest corners of the Hood. The legacy of the ninja gangster, who had become both avenger and victim, haunted the city, a cautionary tale etched in the annals of its forgotten history.